For more, we are joined right now on the phone by an aviation analyst, Michael Boyd of Boyd Group International. Mike, thanks for joining us this morning. Is this more about Continental saving money? In other words, they won't have to keep as many employees on the ground at check-in, or is it about Continental just trying to speed up the boarding experience for the air travel customer?
Well, yeah, I think it's a second. It's about efficiency, and efficiency allows you to use your employees better. So I think it's a little bit of both. But for the consumer, instead of handing a boarding pass to an agent and having an agent swipe it, they'll swipe their own and walk on the airplane. That's the only real difference here. It's going to take a lot of equipment, but it's no major difference in terms of the customer experience or lack of same.
Mike, I can already see the headlines if there were a security scare on board a plane where you see this kind of swiping take place. How realistic is it that we're going to see this anywhere and everywhere at U.S. airports? Well,
there's a lot of equipment that has to be put in place, and that's very expensive. You'll see it at the Continental's hub at Houston, perhaps an American's hub at Dallas-Fort Worth, but you're not going to see it in places like Syracuse and smaller airports like that. But as far as security goes or safety, there's no difference. I mean, the agent there that's now swiping your boarding pass isn't there for security reasons, and there's no security threat there. So that's not really an issue. But there's a lot of equipment that has to be put in place, so you won't see it everywhere. You'll see it at big airports.
Mike, we know the system for some airlines works in the EU. Any lessons to be learned?
I think, it's just simply, let's remember the EU airports are laid out a little bit differently. They may have an easier way of doing it there, and EU tends to have, it's at airports where they tend to have large volumes of passengers getting on and off. So, again, we may see it at John F. Kennedy for American Airlines, but we're not going to see it in Buffalo, New York for Southwest.
Mike, do you think agents will be on board with this? I know they have their hands full. There are fewer staff overall, but for some reason, whenever I'm at an airport, we can't seem to all get in a line when it comes to actually boarding the plane. Everybody's coming from left, right. And agents might say, hey, actually, we play a key role here.
Yeah, I think it's a case of crowd control, if you will, sort of hurting people on airplanes. Let's be blunt. But I think in the U.S. it'll work very well. If you ever lived in China, like I have, I mean, people just line up and just pile on. It wouldn't work there. But I think here in the U.S., I think the culture would be a little bit more amenable to it.
All right, thanks. That's Mike Boyd, president of Boyd Group International.